Where do you live at?
Like near Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, that's right. You were in New
Yeah,
England and you moved down here.
I did. I
That's
moved down here.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I actually love living in the South. I love
Me
it down here.
too.
People are great, and it's a lot like slower pace. People actually say like nice things. They say hi to you. It's crazy. I love it.
Me too. And so now you can do all the races we have down here.
Yeah, exactly. Next year,
Have you
already
thought
looking them
about
up.
have you thought about that? Have you looked at stuff?
I started to, but it is different. The race schedule is just different down here than it was up in New England. So just kind of figuring that out. But yeah, I started looking at races.
I know you're more of an endurance gal, but have you done like a Savage race, for example?
I haven't, and I want to do one. Yeah, I've really the only races I've done is Spartan, Tough Mudder, and Fit Challenge. So I still want to try those other races.
Well, there's two North Carolina Savages every year, fall and spring, and there's
Mhm.
two Georgia Savages, spring and fall. So um, if you want to do those are great.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely want to add one because a lot of people have recommended it. So yeah, I definitely want to try one of those. Yeah.
Um, and then obviously a bunch of Spartans and whatnot, but I didn't know which Spartans you've done. Which Spartans have you done?
So I've only done supers. I've never done anything else. So I want to try an ultra and a beast this year.
I
So
was gonna say I would think you would want to do like an Ultra Beast.
yeah, supers are not for me. I'm not fast enough to do those, which I've learned. So I like
Okay.
those long, awful, painful races.
Let's let's find what do you call it? Let's find your what do you call it?
I don't know.
Athlinks. Um, Wait a minute. Is this you?
But
I just
I don't want to know.
I just Googled you, and here is I think Erin
Find my bodybuilding picture.
in a bodybuilding photo.
Yeah,
Have you been hiding this part of your past?
that is part of my past.
There is no. My wife is a bodybuilder now. There's no shame.
Yeah, no, I was actually was a body. I did bodybuilding for a few years. That's actually how I met Travis was through bodybuilding. Yeah, I competed as a figure competitor. But after I did that, I kind of realized that's not really a good place for me. I loved training for it, but I did not like being on stage in a bikini, so in heels. So
Yeah. So Stacy, my wife. I mean, you probably heard me talk about. Well, it's funny though because like I'm sure I Googled you a year ago and it didn't come up. Um,
yeah,
and of course now you've had lots of OCR results. Um, but so Stacy, my wife, started lifting 5 years ago, and she went the powerlifting route and did that,
yeah,
and actually was kind of just starting to like get the hang of it. And then she had a coach, and
yeah.
a friend of hers started doing figure, and she was like, well, I think I want to try it because it's way out of my comfort zone, because my wife is
Yeah,
not a bikini in public kind of person either, or certainly not bikini on stage kind of person.
yeah.
And so she did it, and she likes it, and she's done a couple shows, and she's going to do a couple more. And
That's great.
yeah, I mean, her like commitment to her fitness level is pretty insane.
Yeah, you have to be bodybuilding. It takes up. I mean, OCR does, but not like bodybuilding because it's a lot of it's diet. It's a lot of diet. It's a lot of diet manipulation, which has helped me in OCR because I know how to manipulate my diet for these races. But it is tough. It takes up all your time. But it's amazing, like watching your body transform like that just through diet and exercise. It's amazing what you're able to do.
Yeah, I've been watching it firsthand, and um, it's been, pretty much a 2 year journey to get to like what she's going to do in
Yeah,
2020. And it's just, for my wife, it's like, as a 47-year-old, like to be able to
yeah,
find this whole new part of yourself.
yeah.
And she's got a
It is.
great coach. And so like, you know, I know she's not doing things that are stupid and or
Yeah.
unhealthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like, it helped me gain a lot of confidence too. Because while I didn't like being on stage, it did help me build a lot of confidence being up there like that. So that's amazing that she did that. That's awesome.
Well, luckily for you, if you start clicking around here on these links, it doesn't work very well until like you have to sign in, I guess. But
Yeah,
I just think it's funny that we never even found this last year that you somehow escaped.
I know. I tried to not like post any of those, but now everyone's gonna look it up. But yeah, I've tried to like not. At some point, I was like, I'll talk about it, but yeah,
Well, but I think it's you know, people find their journey how they find their journey, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly.
So how many years ago was that?
Um, I did that show in 2013.
Oh my
It
God,
was
were you a teenager?
No, I was 21. 21. Actually, like that was right around the I was training when I turned 21. So I never like drank and I still don't drink, but that was gonna be the first time I was gonna drink, but I was training so I didn't and I still haven't. So it was kind of funny. It was right around my 21st birthday.
Wait, and so what are you now? 28?
Yeah.
Oh, prime of your life, bro.
Yeah, are you there? Okay. Yeah, prime of my life.
And where did you grow up?
Sacramento, California. Well, I grew up in Fairfield. My dad was in the Air Force. And then when he got out, we moved up to Sacramento. So
And
Northern California.
did you always know you were going to enlist?
So my dad took me to the Air Force Academy when I was 8 years old, and I was like, from then I was like, I'm gonna go to the Air Force Academy. I'm gonna be in the Air Force, and I told everybody. And that's what I did. I went to the Air Force Academy. I went and joined the Air Force. Yeah. So I went so the Air Force Academy is like an officer training route. That's the route I took. Yeah.
Which is, well, explain that as opposed to like the other ways.
Oh, you can go officer and then you can enlist. They're just two different ways. And officer, there's three different ways you can be an officer. And enlistment is just kind of the normal way you enlist. So yeah, I went the officer route. My dad was enlisted. He was in for 24 years, retired senior master sergeant. And everyone told him when I joined, he's like, you're gonna have to salute her, and he's like, that'll be the proudest day of my life. So he was actually my first salute, and we were both crying when it happened.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really cool. We still talk about it. It was really cool. So yeah, I kind of followed in his footsteps, and then kind of end up following my mom's footsteps too. So I've turned into my parents because now I'm a nurse. My mom was a nurse, so I've turned into my parents.
And so you're going to continue to do that in the Air Force until you retire?
So I'm a civilian nurse, but I'm in the reserves as something else. So I kind of do a lot of things. So I'm a civilian nurse, but then I'm in the reserves, and I'm hoping next year to transition into Air Force nursing in the reserves.
Okay. And so you were living in what, Connecticut?
Near Boston, Arlington, Massachusetts.
Arlington.
Arlington, yeah, right near Cambridge.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what was with the big move this year? Well, let's back up.
Okay.
Last year, no one knows you.
Yeah.
You're just Erin Rost, some people calling Roast.
Yeah.
Then you finished second in World's Toughest Mudder. It's this amazing thing, and you're sort of like burst in the OCR scene. People like me want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And so then what has this year been like? What's the last, you know, I know I saw you did a bunch of fit challenges because I follow Mike and Caitlin.
Yeah. Yeah. So the transition was a little weird because honestly, that was never why I got into OCR. I never thought that was going to be something that would happen. So when that happened, it was really unexpected. I know people like you didn't expect it at all, and I honestly didn't even know that was possible. So it's been kind of like a weird transition being in that and still kind of learning how to be a competitor in the sport. Because there's still like I'm still a rookie. I mean, this was still just my first real year competing. So there's a lot of things I've been learning about myself and as I compete, but still kind of being in the spotlight a little bit was an interesting experience. But I really enjoyed it. I got to do a lot of really cool races this year. I got to go to Australia. I got to do Fit Challenge, which was awesome, and then a couple toughest, and then World's Toughest Mudder. And then hopefully next year I'm able to do a lot more races. With everything that happened this year, I wasn't able to do as many races as I wanted to. So hopefully I can do a lot more next year. Yeah.
So yeah, so were you second or third in Australia?
Third.
Okay. And then how did you do with the fit events, the fit challenge events?
I just did the one, and I was able to win that one, which was awesome. Um, so yeah, I just did one though, one fit challenge.
So that's what, an 8-hour event?
That was 12 hours. So fit was in April, and then I did toughest Philly in May, and then I moved, and 2 days later flew to Australia and did that race, and came in third in that race. And then those 24-hour races, they take a while to recover from, which I'm going through right now. So I kind of took a month to recover, and then started training again for World's Toughest Mudder. And World's Toughest Mudder was honestly my big goal race for the whole year. I loved it last year, and I was really excited to do it again this year. So this was my main focus all year, but I was able to do a lot of other cool races to train for it.
How did you do at Toughest Philly?
I won. I got 45 miles.
Why do you seem so
It's
shy about it?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I got 45 miles. Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's nothing to embarrass to be about winning, right?
Yeah. It's just like not always why. It's not necessarily why I do the races. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to only talk about my placement in them because they mean so much more than a placement. So like each race is like special in its own way for me. So it's hard to just say, how'd you do? It's like, well, I did well, but like I got all these really great life experiences from it too.
So coming back a year later, what were you able to implement that made your race, that made a difference for you this year?
Well, last year I learned I overtrained last year, and I realized that I needed to get a coach that would kind of hone in, and because I think if I had trained the way I trained last year, I probably would have gotten hurt. So I did get a coach. I trained with Dennis Welch in the Endurance Project, and having him as a coach was honestly like life changing this year. Um, you know, even though the race, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, didn't go as planned, I had a lot of things come up, a lot of issues. I still ended up finishing 75 miles faster than I finished last year. And last year, the stars aligned for me to get the 75 miles. And this year, they did not align, and I still got 75 miles faster than I got last year. So yeah, my training was a lot different this year for this race, and it definitely showed in all my races this year.
What did he have you change that you were doing? What did you start doing, or what did you stop doing when you got a coach?
Um, I started training less, and I did more focused training, more efficient training, more running, different styles of running, a lot of tire pulling, which you'll probably see in a lot of my stories. Yeah, the tire pulling helped a lot, and kind of walking, doing things like that. Not necessarily what I did last year was just pure running all the time, same pace, 9 to 10 minute mile pace running as much as I could. And this year was just different pacing, varying the time I was running, and then strength training, grip strength training, and then resting and recovering and focusing on that, which I was not doing last year.
Listen, if you want to be incredibly average, you can describe. That's what I've done for 7 years: is 9 to 10 minute paces all the
Yeah,
time. Like go
yeah,
out there, do a 5 miler, maybe do a long one once in a while. But yeah,
yeah.
that'll
Yep.
keep you in
No, and that's
shape,
great.
right?
It's great. But if you want to, and that was great for last year. I mean, last year, I mean, I don't have a running background. Last year was my first year I started running really seriously. So just even running every day was my focus. But this year, I was like, I can't just run every day. I have to be focused about the type of running I'm doing. And that's really what I focused on this year. And I had to do a little less lifting. I'm a big lifter, so I had to, as much as I wanted to, I still did strength training, but I had to do a little bit less and really focus on the running because that was my weakness. So
What does the tire pulling work on?
I'll let Dennis explain that because he explains a lot better than I do. But it's kind of similar to walking on incline on a treadmill. But um, I do the tire pulling on a track, and it really helps build like strong legs, like a strong foundation.
So it's tied around your waist.
Yeah, it's a Comcore vest, and then you pull it, and then there's like a harness, and then it's attached to the tire. And that, like, it's not just the weight of the tire, it's also the friction that you create with whatever surface you're on. So a track is obviously a harder surface to pull a tire on than a gravel is. So I try
Right.
to do it on tracks. It's just a lot harder, and it helps with like your running. It helps with your form too. Yeah.
That would make sense how it works in your form. I feel like you would leave marks on the track though, and they would be upset with you.
Nope, nope. It's a black tire on a black track. So no one has ever said anything. I just get a lot of weird stares, especially on base. I get a lot of weird stares on base. I don't
I
like
would
it
feel
when,
like you would get less stares on base because military people do wacky things.
yeah, but still, I get a lot of like weird stares, and sometimes the security forces guys will drive by, and I can just see them like slow rolling by, like staring at me. Because sometimes I do it late at night, like after a nursing shift, I'll be pulling a tire at 10 p.m. at night, and it just looks funny.
And then, so what's for what, like an hour? Like, what's an average tire workout?
It depends on the workout. Sometimes the workout is just like it's an hour of tire pulling, and sometimes it's yeah, it's not as often, but and then sometimes it's 15-minute tire pull and then maybe a mile run. Just we vary. It varies. So it's hard to pull a tire after you just ran a fast mile, and
Oh
that's kind of
yeah,
helps you prepare for World's Toughest Mudder because you're running and then you have to walk up a hill, you know,
right.
and then you have to
So
run again.
right, and so I walked up to you at 7, 8 a.m. and I'm like, "How's it going?" You're like, "A series of unfortunate events." So then I just found that video and shot it over to you, and you're like, "Oh, that could kind of describe
Yeah, it
my
was like
race,
perfect timing because it was
right?"
like right after I made that post. I'm like, oh, that's perfect, and I'm still holding my arm like this. So
So yeah, so I saw your hand. Didn't look pretty.
yeah,
Let's talk about what happened. You were
yeah,
very swollen.
yeah. It was really swollen. So, I jumped up on Block Ness Monster, and then after it, it hurt when I did it, and then I started walking. And your hands are swollen anyways from it being cold. And then I looked down, it was really swollen, and then I couldn't. It was really hurting, and then I couldn't. By the end of that lap, I couldn't close it. I couldn't move it. Couldn't grip anything. And I still had time for about 3 more laps. And at that point, just a lot of things had happened throughout the night. And I was like, seriously, but that's kind of how sometimes it goes. It kind of went from bad to worse to worse. But that's what makes this sport so special. I know I say it all the time, but you really find out what you're made of. At the end of the race when everything's going wrong, like what do you do in those moments? I think it parallels life in a lot of ways. Like what do you do in those dark moments? And I was proud that I just kept pushing through it, and I was really proud to be a part of a community that helped me push through those final laps. So that's kind of where I was at when you talked to me, though.
Well, it's got to be hard to do an obstacle race if you can't grip anything.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't use my left hand, so I had to do some penalties. The low moment for me was having to get help on mini mutter because I couldn't run up it like it was, and so I had to get help, and two guys helped me each time, and it was really nice. Like no one said anything. People were just really sweet and helpful. But yeah, it was a low moment. I was like, "Yep, I'm getting help at mini mutter Everest, so this is where I'm at."
But it never it did it occur to you to stop? Did you think about that?
No, it's just, I trained all year for this race and it wasn't something that was serious enough, and I got it wrapped and I was really careful not to use it because I didn't want it to become a serious injury or anything. But you train all year for this race, and it was like, I'm just going to keep pushing no matter. And I said that before. I told my brother and I told Travis last year, he was my person last year. My brother was the person this year. I was like, you're the only person who can tell me to stop. You know enough about sports. You know enough that if I have an injury that will prevent me from if it's something that could get seriously worse, then tell me to stop. But if it's just like something I have to push through, do not let me stop. And it was never something that was serious enough where I had to stop. So I wasn't going to stop. So yeah. And I made that decision before the race. So
Well, a lot of people make that decision for the race, and then they get cold, or
yeah.
something hurts.
Yeah. And it's completely understandable. And I don't, anyone who had to stop this race, last race, it happens. And it's not judging anybody. It's just, I was lucky I was able to push through because there were definitely times in this race I was very close to quitting, very close to quitting. So I don't judge anybody who had to stop. I mean, it's hard on your body. These races are not easy. And anybody who says they are is lying or is not
I,
doing it right.
I don't think anybody says it's easy.
Yeah. Sorry.
You all
I'm
right?
still a little sick. Yeah, I'm still a little sick from that race. It's been
Yeah.
2 weeks. I'm
I,
still recovering.
yeah, I think that happens to people too. Were you someone that got lots of carabiners?
I was not someone who got lots of carabiners. I think I got a total of 4 the whole race. I used 2 on one thing, and then I used 1 and I did like a dance thing on one. But then after that lap, I was actually the race director came up to me and said, you know, you came in faster on this one than I was expecting, and I told him what I had done, and he said, well, the volunteers aren't supposed to be doing that. And I was like, well, take my other carabiner because I don't want to be accused of cheating. So he took it, and so I only used them. I only skipped 2 things.
Because
With
having
my
having missing a hand, I think it would be a good time to use a carabiner.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
mean,
then I have
yeah, everybody seems to think that it got out of hand and that they'll get it under control for next year, or even for the toughest. I guess they might be doing it.
yeah. I just don't honestly. I I did not like the carabiners. I think it really took away from the race, and I get why they were trying to do it, and the concept was a good concept. You know, maybe finding them, but the way it was executed was just, you know, it really took away from the quality of the race. And I think even people who maybe used quite a bit of them, you know, maybe they got a mileage, but they really, I think we all kind of realized, you know, you didn't really get that mileage, and I think it took away from that for me, and I just really hope that just never comes back, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've been around long enough to know that it'll fade as time goes on. Um, I've joked before that I got 50 miles in a quote unquote easy year. It was the year with the most 50 miles ever. That was probably surpassed this time, right? Because
Yeah,
of that stuff. And what did it to me was just looking at people's last few laps. They were really fast,
yeah,
and average people, elite people. And so I think in the past, even might have been more like, oh, that's bullshit. But it's like, you know what? This was the year with all the carabiners. Everybody knows it, and
yeah,
everybody's equivalent. You know what I mean? And over
yeah,
time, the people that are good will do good. And if somebody never gets 50 miles again, and they got 50 that year, we'll just kind of know. And yeah, like I said, I'm confident they'll fix it. I think they're, what do you call it? They're competent enough to go. Whether it's a contender, elite contender
yeah,
format, or just something different. Like they just don't allow them nearly as much.
yeah.
I'm confident they'll fix it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did hear you talking to Kyle about it, and saying maybe, you know, elite people should be maybe wear a different bib. But 2 reasons why I don't like that. One, last year I was an elite contender and I still was able to do what I did. And we don't know, you know, there's going to be another person who's going to do that. So you don't want that to be that. And then that's what makes this race so different is that everybody's equal. We're all running the same race. So it shouldn't be people are treated differently
Well, then they
based on.
can't. Then they can't use them. They got to go back
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
just
just
making
don't
it.
use it because the race is already special and weird. You don't really need to add anything else. Everyone who's done this race knows. I mean, it's no matter how many times you do it, I feel like it's always going to be like a crazy, difficult, special race, whether you have carabiners or not. You know, whether it's more funny or not. Like it's because, you know, amazing things happen for every person during this race. You know, especially what happened to me the last 3 laps. I mean, that was special, and I didn't need all this weird stuff to happen for that to happen. So
What
yeah.
about even just like the original plan? Like, hey, if you hit the bell on swingers, like, what about that? Would
I
you?
like that, like little things like that where you earn it. Definitely, by all means, when you earn stuff, yeah, that's how they did it last year. Like I think you should be able to earn them, but not earn handfuls of them. Yeah, yeah. My boyfriend actually, Travis, described it as kind of a slow moving train wreck. Like there's nothing you can do but watch it happen. You know, uh, like for me, you know, watch like you said those final laps where you know people's times are starting to pick up and like mine weren't. Yeah, you kind of described it as like a slow moving train wreck where you can't watch anything, you just kind of have to watch it happen. You know, because the people on the train kind of worked hard and paid for their ticket. We laughed about that, so that's kind of how he described it, being someone who was watching those times pick up and then watching mine slow down.
Was he watching like from
Yeah.
afar? Was he staying
Oh, I
up?
mean, talking to him after it was like really hard. Talking to my family after because you know my boyfriend he's deployed right now, and he was like trying to find service, you know, to watch it all happen, and then he was watching it unfold the way it unfolded, and he said it was so hard for him. And then my family they said it was just really hard because they didn't want to tell me it was happening, because they wanted me to focus on the race, and obviously I had a lot of issues enough. I didn't need anything else, but finding out about everything that happened after, beyond the carabiners, obviously other things that happened. Having them talk to me, having my friends talk to me, having just other people that I didn't know come and tell me some things. It was painful, and honestly, I kind of wish no one had told me, because it did make the last week or so difficult. But I've kind of gotten back to like a good place, and especially like the last thing I wrote about, I kind of gotten back to like how special this race was, and how lucky I am to be able to do it, and how lucky I was to have those really amazing people help me those final 3 laps. So I'm finally back to that headspace, but I wasn't like that right after because of everything that happened.
Did you, before the race, did you tell Travis, hey, you probably need to stay glued to ORN because they're going to have the best coverage? Did you tell him that?
Yeah, and he followed you, and he followed the OCR report. So he was following both of those, and then there was a pretty crazy group text going on that I read after with like my coach Dennis, and then my family and him. And there was like 150 messages. So I read that after. It was kind of funny to watch what they had talked about. So, but yeah, he did watch your coverage.
No, I'm sure he did. I'm listen. I told people that us and OCR Report were probably going to have the most stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Because Tough Mudder is like only half good at their own social media for this kind of stuff.
yeah,
Like they usually don't stay up until the wee hours. Like they'll do some night stuff, but not all night. So if you have friends, like tell them to watch us and watch whoever Will has on OCR Report.
yeah, yeah. And Carlo was there, and I really like Carlo, so it was cool to see him.
Carlo's great.
Yeah,
We love Carlo.
yeah.
But you didn't have special pit crew jackets made this year like you did for your boyfriend last time.
I did.
Oh, you did? No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
he actually ordered new ones that didn't have the year on it, and these are going to be like our official jackets from now on. But yeah, we did have pit crew jackets, and he put his like squadron's logo on it, which was cool. And like he sent it to all his friends, all his squadron, so they were all following me over there, which is cool. I got some messages from them, so it was really cool. Yeah. But yes, we did have special jackets. Those
Okay. I last year they were fucking on point, and I remember that. So,
yeah.
But you weren't even at the brunch this time, though.
I was at the brunch.
Did I see you at the brunch?
Yeah, I just didn't sit up at the tables. I didn't like last year. I didn't really like that. I wanted to sit with everybody last year, so I
Did
don't
you
know. I just wanted
go?
to sit with everyone I'd raced with. So I sat. I was in the middle. So yeah, I was there. I was on
Oh
the
yeah,
podium.
somebody missed the podium. I guess that was Corinne that missed the podium.
Yeah, Corinne. Yeah, I was there.
I was really happy for her. She's been
Yeah,
at this a long time.
yeah. Oh, I wish I would have gotten to meet her. I didn't get to meet her because after the race, I was kind of in a weird place, so I
Right.
didn't get to go over to the finish line to see her, and I wish I would have. But yeah, it
Right.
was cool to do that.
All right. So what do you have anything scheduled? Were you bummed they didn't bring Australia back, or were you not going to do that one again?
I didn't think I was gonna go out there again, so no.
So what are we looking at for old 2020?
Oh, I don't know yet. I definitely want to. I'm gonna do a few of the ultra beast things, and then probably world's toughest again. And then
Probably. You have to go. Come on. Probably.
well, I always like. I mean, I'm planning on going, but life happens sometimes. Um, and I want to do a fit challenge again. I'm probably gonna fly up there and do another one of those because I loved the race. That was honestly probably my favorite race last year was the fit challenge because
I
Robin put on a hell of a race. So I want
listen.
to do one of those.
Rob and I have been talking forever,
Yeah.
and I almost went up. Like I was going to be up this year, so 2019, and then Tough Mudder flew me out because that was their big first event.
Yeah.
It was the same weekend, and then I was going to go up this April, but I got into Boston, so I can't go like to his race and then 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
2 weeks later come back up for Boston. So
Yeah.
look at this; they've got their own page now for Ultra. This is amazing.
Yeah.
They've really gone. So what do you think? Like East Coast, like tri-state, or what do you think? What are you thinking about for
Oh,
Ultra?
for the I want to do that crazy one everyone talks about up in Vermont.
Okay, that's a hard one. Yep.
Yeah. I want to do that one.
That's not till
And then
September. That's not till September.
I know there, and then there's like a couple other ones I plan on flying to. I think I might. There's one in California, that's in San Luis Obispo. I was looking at because my brother lives in LA, so I might go out there.
Yeah, there's a Big Bear and a San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, And yeah, I want to do a Savage race. And then I'd like to do another like really long race, like another 24-hour race, but they don't have very many of those. And I know Spartans and World Toughest Mudder are right back to back. I wish those were spread out a little bit more.
Me too.
Yeah.